It was a stunner in Norman. I'm Barry Tramel, along with OU writer Ryan Aber. We're in the press box, high above Owen Field, where on Saturday, the Sooners lost to Kansas State 38-35, despite a 35-14 lead late in the third quarter. And Ryan, this was a total meltdown by the Sooners offense and defense.
Yeah, it's hard to describe it any other way. I mean, they completely fell apart defensively. They were really good defensively for really 2.5 quarters, and then just got away from them. They kept allowing chunk play after chunk play, a couple of 70-plus yard plays, and then they could never get that fixed. I mean, they didn't get a stop again in the game until, about a minute left when they got the ball back in sort of desperation mode. So the defense, again, not a good performance at all. And then the offense, which has bailed out the defense so many times over the last few years, crumbled as well. So Rattler struggled, had 3 interceptions today, including one on their last offensive play of the game that ended it. In reality, although it was going to be really difficult for them to get back in the game anyway, their offensive line really struggled. They weren't able to run the ball in the second half at all. So a lot of reasons to point to for this loss for the Sooners.
Oh, you're talking about Rattler. He's 26 of 29 through 3 quarters, only 4 of 12 in the fourth quarter. OU just, the offense just fizzled out. But that defense, the Sooners were so dominant from 2.5 quarters, but a bevy of big plays. Kansas State only finished with 10 first downs, but K-State had such big plays, 77 and 78-yard passes to tailbacks, a couple of other long-distance plays. This just became a home run derby for Kansas State, and just a terribly disappointing performance by the OU defense, which again gets no turnovers, lose the turnover battle 4-0, plus a blocked punt, plus a 4th and 1 stop in which Spencer Rattler bobbled a snap and didn't make a first down, which is the same as a turnover. You add up all those things, and it's a recipe for a massive comeback for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it is. You mentioned the first down number for Kansas State. You only get 1 first down on a drive when you go 77 yards to the 1 or the 2 and then punch it in. So they didn't have to get a lot of first downs there. OU's defense didn't offer much in the way of resistance. But the turnovers are really concerning because Alex Grinch has been preaching this for, almost 2 years now since he arrived, and those just haven't come at all, much less in bunches. I mean, they had a couple of critical ones last year at various times, but today, for instance, there weren't any that you could point at with, they almost got one there. There was a dropped interception or a fumble that they could have recovered, things like this. Kansas State fumbled the ball once, but it wasn't a forced fumble. It was one in some open space. There weren't any of those throws. I know obviously Chris Kleiman made it easier on Skylar Thompson to avoid those things with some of the throws that they were making. They weren't going down the field a lot. There weren't a whole lot of opportunities to make turnovers, but they've got to figure out a way to get those things corrected. And you worry about the defensive side of that much more than you worry about the offensive line and Spencer Rattler correcting the things on their end that led to this result.
Well, just a disappointing loss for the Sooners, and they've come back from conference defeats before to go ahead and win the Big 12. Never this early. This is OU's first loss in a conference opener since I think 2012. So,
which is also Kansas State, if I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right here on Owen Field. So lots of work for Oklahoma before they can start thinking about a defense of that Big 12 title. Well, that'll do it from here. Sooners next at Iowa State. They need a victory in Ames in the worst of ways. Stay tuned for further OU football coverage here on Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.